Okay.
Coco, what did you ask real quickly? We got 12. What did you ask? Oh, are we live?
Yes.
We're live now.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Fast Nickel with Coco and Lorena. Hi ladies.
Hey,
Hi.
hey.
I'm glad to be in the building.
Awesome. How's your day going so far?
Um, I think okay.
Okay. How about you, Lorena?
My day's going well. It's going well.
Good, good. Your week off didn't go, it went too fast?
Oh, it's flying by. It's flying by. That's what I know. It's flying by.
Okay. Well, folks, let's give it a minute or two to see if we get some stragglers to come on board. We're basically going to talk a little bit about stablecoins again. And I'm going to show you how to make some yields. This is just one of many ways. And then we're going to talk about transhumanism. And we're going to talk about something that I found regarding the Simpsons, and also something regarding the Great Reset. So I think we got some interesting times ahead of us.
So I guess everyone has to buckle in and get ready for the ride.
Yes. Get ready for the ride.
With all its turmoils.
So what about you two? What are you guys what have you given any thought about where things are headed in the next few weeks or months, the rest of this year?
In terms of what? What are you asking exactly?
In general, like you have any thoughts?
So are we talking locally, globally?
Whatever you're thinking.
So
I'm just asking you a generic question.
where it comes to the global situation that we're in right now, I can see the United States starting to be cut off from the rest of the world. And I can see that accelerating within the next few months, or maybe even sooner.
Okay. How about you, Lorena? You have any thought?
Well, I just know that we just have to be aware. We have to just ensure that we're keeping ourselves abreast of of things. A lot of times, for me personally, I don't make it a purpose to look at the news on a regular basis, because the thing, news is always negative. But I do say it's important for us to be informed and to be aware. And so I just know right now, I think the biggest piece for me, my biggest takeaway is, just making sure that I am being abreast of the different things that are happening, just like how we're doing this every Saturday. It's allowing us to just kind of keep informed of those high level type things that are going on in our world today. And, just making sure that we're making those conscious, sound decisions as a result of what we hear, not in panic, not in fear, but just in preparation.
You're right. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, because I think unless you're listening to your favorite YouTubers or some social media outlets, you don't really get to know what's really going on.
And another thing, it's hard to trust mainstream media at this time because you don't know whether they're delivering propaganda or actual legitimate news, not
Correct.
steering one way or the other.
That is so true. Shalom, Brother Eric.
We're living in times that there's a lot of turmoil within our communities, within our government, within our social confines. But we need to always focus. There's something greater going on that we have no idea of.
Correct.
And a lot of times, the Most High is moving in ways that we don't understand, but He knows the bigger plan. So
Thank
we
you,
just
Brother
need
Eric.
to rest assured in that.
Hey, Brother Todd is here. Shalom to Brother Todd. Okay, I'm going to get started to talk a little. So this is something I've talked about this past Monday on my crypto channel with my members. And I'm going to talk a little bit again because I want to show people how they can make money with stablecoins and why there's been a holdup with this whole Clarity Act, because this is what the banks don't want to see. So the first thing I would like to do is go over to CoinMarketCap and show you, when you're at CoinMarketCap, if you come over to the More section and then scroll down to More Categories, you can then click on Name, and then by alphabetical order, go down to S for stablecoin. And you will see a whole bunch of different stablecoins. So this is the first thing I want to show you. And all of these are basically pegged to the dollar, pretty much. Now, what I would like to show you next is a little information of what you can do with stablecoins. Hold on. Okay, so stablecoins and retail payments. What are stablecoins and how they fit? Stablecoins are digital currencies pegged one-to-one to a fiat currency. And in this case, we're going to talk about the USDC. They combine blockchain speed and programmability with the price stability of the US dollar, making them ideal for global payments. So on the left, it says, how do stablecoins enter the SWIFT Thune stack? One, bank sends payment via SWIFT. Thune routes funds through its direct global network. SmartX Treasury converts fiat to USDC. Stablecoin lands instantly in recipient's digital wallet, and then recipient spends and holds and converts local currency. Now, basically what that means is you don't really need to know anything. Once you have your wallets, you'll just go to your local store or wherever you go to shop like you do now, and everything will happen behind the scenes. So in terms of us as consumers, we'll be able to use it for online shopping, sending money abroad, getting paid, or using it in store or through mobile pay, which we're kind of doing that already anyway. So this is the bottom line of what's coming. But what I really want to do is I want to show you two things. The first thing, which is a big deal, Brother Yakoba, no, I'm sorry, somebody else showed me this but I already had known about it. So a lot of people don't necessarily know, but Fannie Mae just came out this week, on April 2nd, and now you can use your digital assets to buy houses. So for those that don't believe in digital assets like Bitcoin, XRP, etc., it's real, and they are recognizing it. So you can now use your cryptocurrency like you would your dollars. So this is why I've been stressing that you want to start to own crypto, and because it's an asset class, and they have really not wanted to talk about it because they don't really want the general public to know. But when you see what they're doing behind the scenes, they are putting all the rails in place. So what I want to do is I created a video. I don't expect everybody to understand. This is something that I've actually explained a little more in my weekly classes, but if you want, you can always come back and watch this on your own time. So this is something I put together. Let me just share this. And let me turn off the music. Okay. A couple of things regarding stablecoins. So first, most people are familiar with Coinbase. So this is my Coinbase right here, and you see I got $11. So Coinbase is an Ethereum ERC20 base system. You don't need to totally understand that, but just trust me, that's the type of system it is. So that means a lot of things have an Ethereum default. So there's a variety of stable coins, and there's a variety of USDC stable coins, but the foundation on Coinbase is Ethereum. So I'm telling you that because you'll look here at my wallet. This is USDC, and up here, this is USDC, but they're both different. So this one is Flare base with the little F Flare icon, and this one down here is Coinbase, or Base, I should say. So now I want to send, let's say I want to send $1 worth of USD over to my base version. So I'm going to come over here and click on receive. And you'll notice when I type in USDC, I get a lot of different choices. That's because there's different networks. So the one I want is this one, which is the Coinbase. But this is Ethereum, this is the Flare, this is Binance. So there's a variety of different ones. So it's important to know which one you want. So in this particular case, I just want to show you, I'm going to take base. I'm going to copy the address. And now I'm going to come over here and say send. I'm pasting in my address. And so now you see where it says supported networks, and I have all these different choices. I'm going to tell it base because that's the one I just did the receive for. So I'm going to say base, and it's free. I'm just going to do $1. And I'm going to say preview, send now. Done. So give it a minute, and now you'll see this go from $5 to $6. Just give it a moment. Come over here to transactions. Sent. So now just come over here and refresh. And there you go. Now it's $6. Okay, so now you may be asking, why did you do that? Okay, so there's plenty of reason why someone might do that. But in this particular case, I'm doing it because I want to earn yield. So one of the reasons why there's been a stall with the Clarity Act is because the banks don't want to see people like you and me earn yield. They're used to being able to control all that and them make the money. But as I've said on past shows, when you learn and understand this stuff, you can be your own bank and you can dictate the money you make. So I'm going to show you here as an example. Let me just go to share my screen. So this is just one example. So this is a site called sparkdex.ai. So here you have what we call farming, and you'll see here these different APRs. So 112%, 80%, 79%, all these high APRs that they'll give you. Whereas the bank only wants to give you 1 or 2%, but if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money with your money. You just have to understand how to do it. So as an example, you have to deal with trading pairs. So as an example, this one here is wrap ETH using USDTO. This is Flare, a wrap version of, well, this is actually wrap Flare. This is a stable, this is a different version of Flare. This is FXRP and USDTO. So if I wanted to, I can connect my wallet and then pick something that I wanted to use to do that with. I'm gonna connect my wallet. Now, let's see, what do I have here as an example? I don't have any FXRP. I have a little bit of wrapped Flare, but I have no USDTO. So I have base, I have base USDC. I have Flare USDC, but I have no USDTO. So I'm going to show you how I can take one of my stable coins and convert it to USDTO by swapping it. So I'm going to come over here to the swap version of SparkDex, and I'm going to tell it that I want some USDTO, but I'm going to use some of my S-Flare, or let's see if I can use something else. I can use my USDCE, which is this one here. I can use this one. So I'm going to take $5. I'm going to take this $5 and I'm going to just do $2. I'm going to take this $2 and swap it into USDTO. I'm going to hit approve. Confirm swap. So it's swapping. There you go. You see, it received. Okay, so now for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm gonna use some wrap flare because I have some wrap flare. I don't have much. I just got 22 cents worth. So I don't even know if I can, but I got 22 cents and I got $2 USDTO. So they're giving 55% APY. So I'm going to hit view. And then I'm going to see which one I want to use. So they're paying 40,000 daily reward. They're giving a lot. So I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to say add. And I'm going to do wrap flare to USDTO. Hopefully I can do it because remember, I don't have much. Let's see if I say half or if I do max. So if I do max, I'm going to change this because I don't ever like to do max. So in this particular case, I'm taking 25, which is 18 cents worth of wrap flare and doing it. So I'm gonna hit approve. I'm approving it. Approved. Add liquidity. Confirm. So my 18 cents is going to get me 37 cents. Okay. So before I go on, does do either of you have a question or anybody in the chat have a question about what I just did?
No, I don't have any question. But can I add on why stablecoin fits within daily use, like
Yes,
daily
go ahead.
use case? Because stable coins are actually less volatile than like your normal cryptos,
Correct.
right? So
Do you know why?
so it's more practical when you have to budget and pay like your household expenses, your real world
Right.
expenses.
Correct. But
They're
do you know
faster than banks.
but do you know why?
Why?
Why stable coins are stable?
Because they're one for one.
Correct. With the dollar.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about the fluctuation of
Yeah.
crypto like going up 10% in a day or down for 10%, etc.
Right. Like regular cryptos would do.
Correct.
And then they're faster than the banks, like I said earlier. And you could use them for cross border payments. So globally, it also saves you in that aspect. If you have to send money over to, let's say, the continent or somewhere over in Europe, you get it to go faster, and then you're not paying those high fees that come with it.
Correct. So we have a question from According to Ya. She's asking, was that your wallet? And what's the name of the wallet? So that was my wallet. And in that particular case, that is the Bifrost wallet. The Bifrost wallet is a hot wallet. And a hot wallet just means that it's connected to the internet 24/7. It's a great wallet and it's perfect for using XRP, Flare, and to be able to stake. Coco, do you have a comment you want my? So you've been on earlier show my Mondays where I've gone in back in January where I took the time to show the members how to do DeFi and how to use the Bifrost wallet. Do you have any comments or anything you would like to say about it?
The one thing I could say, at first, there were a number of us clueless.
True.
And I'm being nice about it. But the videos that you've provided for us, on top of taking the time to show us, has been very useful. It's easy to learn, it's easy to catch on, because once you do it 2 to 3 times, you get it. And then we
Right.
always have you there to fall back on. That's the plus, the huge plus in it all. And you give us the opportunity to go back in, even if we missed like a session, we're able to go back and have those recorded videos available that we can always tap back into to,
Right.
to learn the
And that's what,
process.
my Monday Zooms, my basic membership, which is $9.99 a month, really comes out to $2.50 a week. The members that come every week, they know the value of coming, but I don't really think a lot of people who watch me on Covenant Awakens or watch me on Town Ministries really understand and realize how valuable it is to be part of my memberships and to be able to have someone that can walk you through step by step, because yes, they are going to make things easy for you. And in the next few months, I don't think people really realize, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this towards the end, but in the next few months, and this is something that Brother Yacoba has talked about, people are gonna have to make a decision on what side of the line that they're gonna live on. They're gonna live on the side of Yahuwah or on the other side. And people are gonna have to make that decision without even sometimes maybe even realizing that they're making that decision.
Yeah, fairly quickly too, because they're not going to give you the opportunity to sit back and say, well, let me think about it. It's going to be like right
Right.
on the spot, make your choice.
That is correct. Lorena, do you have a question? I know this is new to you.
I don't have a question, and is new to me. I was looking at, I try to monitor the comments as we're going through, and I was looking at one of the comments by Erica, and she mentioned, and I'm like this too, and that's why I'm highlighting her comment, how she can't wait until she understands all of this that
Oh,
you.
that's
Oh,
Eric.
that's
Oh,
Eric.
Eric, I'm sorry. I said Eric.
That's
Sorry,
Brother
Eric.
Kinsley.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry, Eric. But yeah, like how he mentioned that, he can't wait to understand all of this, to be, proficient at it. Like 1 + 1 is equal to 2, to just be that, to be that knowledgeable or proficient in what you're sharing, because right now it does feel kind of foreign to me. So as you present and as you talk through, I'm listening, very carefully, so I can really understand. And it's so, fitting at this point, because I don't know if everybody knows this, but this month is financial literacy month for the month of April. And so, we want to be, we want to, make sure that, we understand not just, the basic, this basic conversations dealing with financial literacy, but, getting to what you're sharing, about crypto and, all these other things that we're totally new to. So, yeah, I think what you're sharing is keeping us informed, number one, but also it's teaching us how to take this new line of money, this digital
Asset
this
class.
as yeah, and really being able to apply it to today's world, as opposed, 30 years from, 30 years from, 30 years ago, we would not have even been thinking about digital assets and all of that. But just look at where we are now, how far we've grown, and how it's going to continue to get even more, widespread and even more. I'm just interested to know, in the next 20 years from here, where will we be?
Right. And can I answer according to y'all's question? Yes, you do need to use your real name. This is federal. So these are legal documents. This is a legal account that you need to actually use your government name.
So wait, let me just clarify that a little
Go
bit.
ahead.
So so when it comes to the off chain, or so there's a difference. There's what we call centralized
Mm.
and decentralized. So those of you familiar with Coinbase, is a centralized system, and all the centralized system, just like your banking account, they have what's called KYC, which stands for know your client or know your customer. So you have to give your name, etc. But when you're dealing with decentralized, you can kind of hide in the background. So for instance, with a Bifrost wallet, you don't have to give your name because that's a decentralized system. But in order to work in the centralized system that they're putting in place, they're gonna need to know who you are. And this is why I've been stressing to my members to also have your own hot and cold wallets, so that you can basically maneuver behind the scenes.
Autonomy.
Yes, autonomy. Let's see. Have you guys heard? Apparently, Iran apparently has $1 a dollar toll per barrel on the straight. I haven't heard that, but I know that they are charging, or at least I've heard that they are charging. And now Trump tells them that they better stop. But like he's
He assumes that
he's
he
got this
can
wolf ticket.
dictate what goes around, what happens around the world. He's the emperor with no
Yes.
clothes.
So you know what people don't realize in the past, when we talk about owning the debt, who owns the US debt? So until you really understand what that means, what it means is people and countries buy T bills. That's what they mean when they talk about buying the debt. So what countries have realized now is, because America will cut countries off. Like, for instance, I think it was in 2022, America cut off a couple of $1 billion worth of Russia's money.
Hmm.
So what the central banks have decided to do, these countries, they're buying gold, and now through digital currency, countries like Iran are using the yuan and they're using Bitcoin to get around the sanctions of the US.
But not only that, they are starting to use their own money to cut off America from being able um, to put tariffs on their countries.
Right.
So now they're using their own money. So the United States, they don't have that type of strength that they had in the past, saying, well, we're going to put tariffs on you, and now you have to pay XYZ. Unless you do that, you're not able to function. So many countries right now are going back to using their own currency.
Correct. So this is why I've been stressing the importance of understanding stable bills, only because you're going to be able to use, we're going to an asset based structure where the more things you own, you can use it as collateral to now buy and sell. So it's important to they, as I said, they're going to make the system really easy for everybody, but those who have an understanding of all this are going to be able to really utilize the system and take advantage of the system.
Right. And our people need to start having a Goshen mindset where it comes to dealing with one another.
That's true.
Because we'll be able to maneuver throughout this system seamlessly if we have that mindset.
That is so true. Well, one thing, so I know this comment, becoming worthless. I know a lot of people say that, but the truth is everything right now runs off the dollar. So when the dollar, it's like they say, when America sneezes, the world catches a cold.
Right.
So as the dollar depreciates, it actually hurts all these other countries until they finally decide to decouple from the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And they will. And I've been waiting for that. And that's why I've been promoting owning foreign currencies, because once they decouple, those foreign currencies are going to raise in value and they're going to be valuable to you.
Right. Marco Rubio, he also spoke on that, and it's kind of worrisome for them right now, having countries not depend on that dollar.
Yes. Let's see what Brother Eric is asking. Wasn't that the system Israel used to operate? I'm not sure what, Brother Eric, when you say wasn't that the system, I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
Are you talking about the American fiat system?
He might be typing. I don't know.
So we just need to start thinking in the mindset of preservation in how
Right.
we go about that.
That is correct. Now, I'm going to just see if anybody has a comment. If no one has any other comments, or if my panel doesn't have anything else to say,
You can move on.
I'm going to move on to the next topic, where I want to talk a little bit about transhumanism. So transhumanism is something that went on in the pre-flood Earth, when the fallen were here and manipulating the DNA of all the creatures. That was transhumanism at its finest. And a lot of people think, like, when you read Greek mythology, they think of it as mythology, but that actually was happening. That was real time happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back to doing that. And so the first thing I want to share is this to talk about. Okay.
And we have to understand transhumanism was part of like genetic engineering, AI, nanotechnology, just the ability to enhance.
No, go ahead.
So the ability to enhance one's mental capacity, or even their body features, things like that.
Right. And last week, remember, we talked about the 2026 Economist cover, where it had the game controller attached to the brain. That's a form of transhumanism.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to play this clip from Instagram. It's a little alarming.
You'd like to be taller, shorter, skinnier. You'd like to have better vision, maybe strengthen your body. You have the choice to choose a man or a woman's sleeve. Now, if your sleeve becomes damaged or too old for your liking, simply remove from the cortical stack your DHF, your consciousness. Love you guys.
It's real.
Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to Psychosec. Can I answer any questions? What is it all about? Well, we're a company that produces 100% organic human sleeves. You're probably wondering what's a human sleeve. Well, if you gather around, I can let you know what we do here.
They're calling it human sleeve.
So here at Psychosec, we've been able to achieve true immortality by taking your human consciousness and storing it on a device called a cortical stack. It's implanted in the base of your neck, and it.
So I'm not sure how well you're able to hear, but basically, one of the things that the elite have been trying to do is they want to, through cryogenics, they want to live forever. So they've created these bodies, and then they're going to be able to take your consciousness and upload it to where you can live forever. And I forget what movie. I think it was
Matrix.
Not the Matrix. There was a movie that was similar to this. This was about 10 or 15 years ago, but I can't remember the name of that movie.
Collects and stores everything that makes you you. Every memory, every emotion, every sensation, everything you've ever experienced gets stored on this little device. You can see it here on this screen that's about to come up. You guys just follow me. All the information is stored on this device and can be digitally transferred from one sleeve that you currently occupy into the sleeve of your choosing.
Sleeves are basically human bodies we grow in our labs. They're organically real. Bones, tissue, organs, everything. These are the best bodies you'll ever have. Period. Nothing can hurt these bodies, but they are human. So if something were to happen to them, you can always change them out for a new one. That's why it says immortality becomes non-existent. Because you can be 50 in one body and change to the next body. You're as young as you feel.
Did you hear that? So if something happened, they'll change out your body and give you a new body. I mean, it's sick.
You come this way. David's going to show you some 2018 models that you can choose from.
Well, okay, you can choose which sleeve you desire. Now, you can either have the sleeve that you have right now, or we have a selection of wonderful sleeves. Psychosec, fully genuine and organic produced. Now, if you'd like to be taller, shorter, skinnier, you'd like to have better vision, maybe strengthen your body, you have the choice to choose a man or a woman's sleeve. Now, if your sleeve becomes damaged or too old for your liking, simply remove from the cortical stack your DHF, your consciousness.
I think the movie I'm thinking about, I think it had Johnny Depp in it, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
But here's the thing. We spoke about the meta glasses last week, and that's in alignment with what they're attempting to do to make us comfortable.
Right.
And get us familiarized with what they want to, indoctrinate us with or enhance us with, that we see that there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Brood Mute said Transcendence was the movie with Johnny Depp, and so did Brother Todd say the same thing. So that might be the movie. I think that movie came out like around 10, 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. But this is where we're at in life, and this is what I'm saying about how you're gonna have to make a choice. I know a lot of people don't think they are, but things are really getting to that point. And so the last two things I want to show.
Can I just add something?
Yes, go ahead.
So you can see how when the Bible tells us you cannot buy or sell without the mark or the mark or the name of the beast on you, you could see how transhumanism relates to that.
Yes.
Because now you're going to be your own bank walking around. You will be your own record keeper walking around.
Right.
I want to add more, but I'm going to let you
No, go ahead.
go on. Well, this is how people will be deceived by it because of convenience sake. And it connects to like stable coins too, because now you could just walk through into work and say, well, we don't really need people anymore. We could just download all your data, your financial information. We can pay you just by you walking through something or scanning you, because
Correct.
your payments will be in the cloud.
So let me just answer Sabrina Cooper 5582. So what I showed you there is they're creating what they're calling human sleeves. They will take, so the people who are going to be full on board are people with defects. They're going to be able to take your consciousness and upload it into a new body. So that now if you're paraplegic, for instance, now they can give you a body that you can go run, swim,
Right.
whatever, and you have conscious thought.
Right, because the body will die, but the mind
The
will
body
not.
will die. Correct. And that's where and see what a lot of people don't realize, that whole agenda is around because the fallen are doing everything they can to prolong the Most High's return.
So that's their way of preserving longevity.
That's their way of preserving longevity. And to Eric's point, everyone's going to look to die, and they can't die.
Exactly. You're a walking smart contract.
Yep. Lorena, do you want to say something? If not, I want to show something else.
No, you can go ahead. I was kind of like what Sabrina was, I was like, what in the world, because at the
You're
end of the day,
just as dumbfounded as everybody else, huh?
yeah, because you hear about this stuff and you see it now coming into fruition, but the thing is what they don't understand. And I want to ask you this, Mike, but I was going to wait. When you say, and I just want to make sure, I just want to get clarity when you say, to expand just for a second, when you say you have to make a choice.
Yeah. So for those that watch Brother Yakoba and Tao Ministries, we're coming to a point where we're starting to see the forming of the Most High's kingdom and Satan's kingdom. And so there's not going to be a middle ground. You're going to have to make a choice which side of the line you want to fall on.
I thought that's what you were. I thought that's what you were saying. And when you were saying, in my mind, I always say this, and I always say you can't serve two masters.
Right.
You can't serve both sides. Like what Coco just said, you can't sway on the fence. One minute you're over here and the next minute over there. You got to make sure you make the right decision. So you're absolutely right. I just wanted you to expand on that, just in case we had a listener and didn't quite understand what you mean about making a choice.
Sure.
Now, just think of like everything that
you go to the side that you think is most appealing until you realize later, oh man, I did not make a conscious decision, or I didn't stand on what the word says. So,
Right.
you are definitely right when, because it looks appealing. When you see stuff like that, people get excited. You see all this,
Bright and
all
shiny.
this.
The shiny
Yeah, yeah,
object.
yeah. And then you got this background music playing. I'm thinking, what in the world? Because you got this music playing while you're looking at this, and you think about how it started. Right now, it's this piece. After a while, it's going to be conventions. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
conferences. It's going to be all this stuff to make it, just to
So
globalize.
appealing,
Yeah,
enticing,
appealing and to
mind
globalize
manipulating.
this.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important that we continue to stand on, what the word says, because, some people get caught up with all of that and they forget about, what we do know.
Right. So
Right. They become dumb. They forget
That's
everything
right.
that the word has told them. They're just worried about where my next meal is coming from.
yeah.
Exactly.
So Anissa, she just texted me to say, asked to bring up how now Whole Food has palm scans. I don't know if
They've
anybody
been
has
had
seen it.
palm scans. They're just now bringing it to the United States, but they were doing that over in Europe already,
Mm,
in Sweden to be exact. I think Sweden and the Netherlands, they've already been using this type of technology already. They're just incorporating it now in the United States.
yes. Now we see everything that's happening with Iran, etc. But the reset is about to happen, and this is a 3-minute video. There's two that I saw, but this is a short one. So I want to show this and get your thoughts and the listeners' thoughts.
Abu 7, a lot of people asking questions about this cryptic post that Trump put out talking about the world's most powerful reset. Signed, DJT. People saying, what is he talking about? Is this chatter on Russia and Ukraine? Is it purely China? America first, 4D chess, anything else? They're saying, well, I think it's rather obvious if you've been paying attention what this means. He's only said it on record, on camera. He said, look, I'm sent here to reset this whole thing. So I take that as not just the United States economically, but it's going to affect the entire globe. And he's kind of pointing in that direction. The whole thing with the Straits of Hormuz has sparked this. And even if they come out and they say he's talking about something else, like, what are you talking about that makes sense to what's going on out here? Well, it's this. Everything going up, and with the Mar-a-Lago Accord coming up here just next month, when the whole thing gets rolled out, people are going to see what he means through and through. This isn't a one-day thing, okay? But it's happening. It's happening in real time, every day. You can just watch the markets and you can see the prices of everything around the world rising, inflation rising. So to fix this, there's going to have to be an official event, in my opinion, a true reset. But what this might entail is telling everybody that we forgive you of your debt if you come onto the new system. That would walk a ton of people right into the trap, onto a new system, the beast system, of course. Will many care? Nah. Many are going to go along with the flow, but a lot of you out there, you've had warning after warning about this moment, about when this all goes down, and to me, they really can't put the whole thing into effect until they hold your money hostage. Which means any moment now, any time, there's going to be some kind of hack or cyber attack on the banks holding your money hostage. They're going to have the quick answer, which is going to be a digital currency. Just download the app and you can spend it at the gas station at any store. It's already set up. So give me a break. All they need is the event. It's plain to see, clear to see. and it's here at any time. I mean, this man's out here openly bragging about the world's most powerful reset, and they haven't even done it yet. They haven't even done it yet. It seems like any moment. I don't know what else to say about it. When he's bragging about it and it still hasn't happened, well, you could say it's kind of in motion, but not until the money resets. And all the economies reset. They want everyone onto the new digital biometric slave system. If you can't tell. Anyway, join me for the live stream. Talking about this in greater detail. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
So,
can I just say something about Sabrina's comment? Amazon, well, Jeff Bezos actually owns Whole Foods, so it's not surprising that you saw someone do that with within an Amazon store.
right. You know, one of the things, one of the reasons, or one of the things I'm trying to do to help prepare people to understand all this stuff is because we know that this is going to be part of the B system, and definitely by 2030, this is going to be full steam ahead. So the whole idea behind teaching how to use wallets and how to manipulate in this system is because most of the people all listening right now all want to go onto the continent. And so basically through crypto and digital assets, you can now buy your assets, get out of here, and try to buy, to be as independent as you can from the system, because the more you rely on the system, because what I think might happen very soon is part of what's going to happen is they're going to reset the debt. So all of us that have all this debt, they're going to tell you, hey, we will do away with your debt.
Wipe out your debt.
We're going to wipe out your debt. Just join the system. You know that they never give you something for nothing. So you have to be careful of what they're looking to give you, because you definitely don't want your soul to be what you're giving to them.
And remember, the debt is temporary. Regardless of what type of debt you're in, it's not worth losing your soul over.
Right. It's definitely not. But, you know, we all say that now, but when people are in a panic, they make foolish decisions a lot of time out of stress, out of panic. And this is why it's so important to be prepared. And, you know, Brother Jacoba on Thursday, his message was right on point, because a lot of us, including myself, are going through a time of testing, and it's really it's a little tough, but that testing is preparing us for where we're headed in the next few months, to where, like I said, you're going to have to make a decision. It's really easy to say what you'll do or what you won't do
when you're not in the situation.
When you're not in the situation.
But I will.
Where's your resolve when your feet is being held to the fire, and then you have to make that decision right there and then.
Right.
But I would like to say too, you know, like I know you were talking about, you know, everybody, like for me, right, you know, that, you know, moving to the continent for me, you know, right now it's just, I don't see that being an option for me. So for those that don't have that as an option, you know, thinking back with, just think about me being a financial agent, helping people with their finances. And we have so many people, they work hard, we work hard, we work hard, we
Mm-hmm.
put in long hours. There are people working 2 or 3 jobs, but yet we still feel behind. You still feel behind. And that's why it's so important to be financially literate, so you can move from just surviving to to actually going to building and protecting wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the things, with Mike, that's one of your areas. You teaching us how to move from just surviving to actually how to invest appropriately and properly, so we're able to build and protect our wealth. So when that time comes, or even the next 6 months, we won't feel like we're so strained, and we feel like we like just kind of scrambling, like on a I would say like a hamster's, a hamster's wheel. You constantly turning, and in this turning you see all this debt, in this turning you see all these finances, in this turning you see all this negative stuff, and you can't ever seem to catch up. And that's why it's so important for us to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We got to understand how money works. Number one, we
Yeah.
have to make those decisions that how to make, confident decisions, learn how to budget, making sure we're managing our debt, protecting our income and all that long-term wealth. So all of that plays a part with what you're sharing today. And, for any, for future years, the next 2 or 3 months, the next 6 months, we have to be prepared.
And we
You're
need
right.
to learn to live beneath our means. We need
That
to get
too.
to that mindset too.
So I want to just comment on something that Lorena said,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't even know. So what you said is was perfect, because it's something that Coco and I address or talk about a lot. So, and I really, for those in the chat, because I know a lot of our people are dealing with this issue. So the thing you said, Lorena, is you don't see yourself in a position to be able to go to the continent. And so my question to you is, what's making you think that?
And I guess I need to restate it. Not necessarily I don't see it, but right now that's not one of my long-term goals. Let me
Okay, so
restate it.
you never, so it's one of the things you've never thought about. Is it, and again, this is a case where maybe um coming into the thought process as to who we are, until you have an understanding of that, maybe the continent doesn't necessarily make sense. But even if it made sense for a lot of people, they're in a financial position where they just can't see that happening.
Right. And like I said, it's not that I can't see it happening, or actually happening for me. It's just right now that's not one of my long-term type, that's
Right.
just not what's on
One
my,
of your
on my
goals.
timeline of things.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
But
according
I
to
don't
y'all's
knock it.
asking,
I don't knock it, for anybody that, I don't knock that. I have a lot of friends that, they go over there now, but just for me, that just has not been on my timeline.
right. So according to y'all's asking, repeat the question. So the question basically was, for some of us, going to the continent, at least right now, they feel as though it's not an option. And so I was just asking, why do you feel that way? Because Coco will tell you that people that we talk to, they're in that same situation where it's not necessarily an option.
And it's not always the individual, but it's family members, or they're not financially able right now, or they feel like I isolated and they won't have anyone to connect with over there. So there's many reasons why people feel as if they're not able to make it over to the continent. Maybe it's not the continent that they want to go to. Maybe it's somewhere else in the world that they're looking
Right.
toward.
That's
That could
true
be
too.
it too, as long as they're out of here.
As long as you're out of here.
And somebody got to be over here to protect the older people. So I'll be that one person to protect them while everybody else is getting out of the country. I'll be over here to protect those that need that extra protection.
Well, you know, the one thing that they're going to be doing over here is these 15-minute cities, and
Yeah.
so, you know,
But it's not only over here that they want to do 15-minute cities. It's a global thing that
yes,
they're
yes, it's a global thing.
pushing to
It is.
happen very quickly. So that's why the financial strains that we're going through right now are happening, and the reset is happening. So they gain control of whatever you need to do financially. You're in a financial jail, stronghold.
Right. And you
You
know
hold
what
it
according to Yah is saying, and this is important to remember, you know, everybody you have to have a calling or feeling led to leave. So, you know, maybe some people don't feel like they're led to leave. You
right.
know,
And maybe
everybody
it's not, and the thing is, we always say the continent. Maybe for them, it's not the continent. Maybe it's somewhere else that there's a strong pull towards. Because remember, we are all around the world, we're global. And
right.
maybe they're being led to a different country so they can start gathering people to eventually end up on the continent. We have to look at it that way too.
Very true. Well, before we shut down, I would like Lorena, if you don't mind, from a perspective of our people, what would you say is one of the things that you have seen that it's most important for our people to have in place? Would you say it's life insurance? Would you say it's a will? It's estate planning? What have you seen?
For me, I think the biggest piece is protection. You got to have protection. And what does protection looks like? That can start with life insurance, of course. If something happens to any of us today, are we prepared? Or are we going to have, all of, we're just talking about debt, the type of debt that, sometimes people have within their homes. And, will somebody else take on that debt? Or are you protected in such a way that, you are able to be, to have a nice or however that funeral, however the funeral expenses or whatever, but do you have that protection, number one? And so I will always start with, you need to at least have a term type life insurance or an IUL, and some a living insurance. And so I say all this to say that I think you always should start with that, because you never know, things are happening, so you just never know. Now from there, you got all that, you got your protection, you're covered, something happens to you today. Well, do you have a plan on who's going to get what? Do you have a plan on, with your estate, who, do you have a living will? Do you have your estate plan laid out? Is everything in place, proper place? Or if something happens to you today, what's going to happen, with your estate? If you have kids, do you have it mapped out who you want to receive your kids if something to happen? Or because a lot of times in this, in this day and age, sometimes families may say, well, I don't know if I can keep Lorena, or I don't know if I can keep Mike. So then it goes into foster care. All that is a big piece of a good um, conversation starter to think about all those things, because believe it or not, you know, people, when you think about your, and I'm going to go back for a minute, we talked about protection, we talked about your estate planning. But the one thing I want to ask everyone, how are you financially? Are we in a place right now where you're financially set? If you had an emergency today, do you have a plan on how your bills will be paid? Do you have a plan on, what will happen to your family? Or are we just, one paycheck away from possibly being homeless? And I hate to say it that way, but I want to put it in perspective, because we need to make sure that we understand that a lot of people are just one emergency away from financial stress. And, having that financial stress comes with everything else, without a plan, things like unexpected medical bills, loss of income, the inflation, all of that, can set you back, and can set you back in such a negative way.
Right.
So to ask, that question you asked is a really good question, because, yes, the first thing I always say, you need to have protection. If it's just that very basic, life insurance, do you have something if something should happen to you? But beyond that, are you budgeting in such a way where you're not living beyond your means, like what Coco mentioned? Sometimes we want to live with, as they say, with the Joneses, but we're not, we don't have the Joneses money, or, we're not planning accordingly. The Joneses, they may look, they got this money, but they have a budget. They're following a certain guideline or certain cadence every month on what they're putting out and how much they're putting out. Do you have that emergency fund? If something happens right now, if you lose your job, you get sick, or whatever the case may be, do you have enough cash to cover your expenses, or at least to cover you for the next 3 to 6 months? And we say 3 to 6 months, but technically you really need to say up to 12 months. We talk about that protection. Do you have the kind of protection that if you get sick, or if you have some kind of critical illness, and you don't know what your next step is, do you have that kind of protection that will help you get through that phase of being ill, or whatever the case may be? Do you have a strategy, your debt management, all of this? Are you building wealth? Do you have something in place for your children, so when they become adults, they don't have to sacrifice a lot. They already have something in place for them. So it's a lot of things that, financially, that you can look at. But to answer your question, I always start with the protection, and then you go beyond that.
Okay. And for those, so Lorena will be on my channel probably in the next week or two. Her and some of her team, they come on once a month and we talk about financial planning. So we'll have to get together to see if you're going to come on next week or in 2 weeks, whatever.
On this Saturday live?
Huh?
On this Saturday live? Are you
No. I'm talking about her, when she comes on my crypto channel.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, we should have a time where we have
And Mike,
Mike over on Saturdays.
Well, she's here on Saturdades.
No, the team.
I'm saying, well, that's a different discussion. I'm just saying that she's coming back in the next 2 or 3 weeks to discuss financial planning, like they have
on your Monday crypto classes.
Right.
I knew what you were speaking.
And Mike, I do have something. If I can, am I allowed to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on one second.
If you can, just put is it a link?
Actually, no, it's like a little flyer. I just wanted to just, just kind of show, but if not, that's fine.
I'm not sure how you can. If you can provide it to me, I can probably share it.
All right. Let's see if I can get it over to you.
Just tell me how you're sending it.
All right. I'm going to send it to
You can
you.
email or text it.
I think I better go ahead. I'm going to email it to you real quickly.
Okay.
But I think, and the reason why I want to share it because, what I said was a lot. And so I would like to just, show it to them on paper just so they can kind of see what I was referencing and all the different ways of protecting yourself.
Okay,
Give me
let me know
one
when you
second.
send it.
So, Brother Eric, if ever you want to come up on the panel, if we invite you, we send you out an email earlier during the week, we could possibly do something like that for the planning of the Great Escape. That's a wonderful idea.
Okay, while Lorena is looking for that, or when she tells me she sends it.
I just sent it to you, Mike.
Okay, where'd you send it?
I sent it to your Fast Nickel email.
Okay. Let me look.
Lorena, I think we're the only two that don't call him Fast Nickel constantly.
I know. I know. Everybody else calls him Fast Nickel.
Fast Nickel.
And I know it sent it to the other email, but I said, well, I know he'll get this one from Fast Nickel like really, really quick.
You're right. I got it. Hold on a second. Let me just download it. Oh, let's see. What's the easiest way? Hold on a second. Save. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Okay, so this is what Lorena wanted to share. So go ahead, take it away, Lorena.
Yeah, so just what I just kind of shared with you before, when Mike was asking from, my side, from the financial side, I believe in making sure that, we take control of our financial future. And I provide free consultations. These are 6 areas that I do highlight. Your session, if you book one, is free. If you look right there in the corner, it's kind of small, but it's a Calendly address where you can do it. And Mike, if you can take that and post it in the chat, that'll be great as well. But just give me a call, just follow up. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I've been around for a while to know that, and being in this world, this financial world, and working with Mike and partnering with him, it's important that we take control of our future. It's important that we take control of our finances. If we don't have ourselves in a position or prepared, we could potentially be one paycheck away for possibly being, in a homeless state or living with someone else. And so it's important that we take control of our own future.
So true. Hold on. Let me. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat.
When
So
are you going to start your posting on YouTube, Lorena?
It's
I thought I should ask.
coming.
Okay.
now, if you go to the, if
It's
I
coming.
pinned,
No,
I
no,
pinned
it's coming.
Lorena's, I pinned Lorena's YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and subscribe to her.
Yes, please subscribe. You know, I got to do this thing. Every time I start, I'll say, well, I do it, another day. But it is important that I do get, I want, our community to understand the importance of, just everybody to understand the importance of, just being in a good state financially. Money, I know, the script, what is the root of all evil? Money is the root of all evil, but at the
Mhm.
same time, we do have to make sure, we are in a position, money doesn't have to be bad if we don't have a love of money. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Amen, sister. Amen.
we have to be in a position where, if you want to be your own entrepreneur, if you want to start a business, it takes money. But
Right.
you can't be in a financial state or be in a financial distress and try to start your own business, because that's just going to add to the stress level. So I just think that, at this day and time of our lives, we just have to make good sound decisions, just become literate, or being aware of what is out there, and how can you take advantage of these options to be in a better state.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before, well, let me just, before we call it a night, let me just share this for those who need it. So this is learncrypto101.info, and there's a free down financial analysis form you could download, fill it out, and Lorena and I will help you see where we can help you with your finances. It's totally for free. But if you want to become a member of my weekly Zooms, you can become a basic member for $9.99 a month, or basically $2.50 a week. Or you can join my exclusive membership for $24 a month, where you get access to all my classes, my learning material. It's definitely, if you're someone who wants to learn, the $24.99 is definitely worth it. So all of the things that you see down here and more that you would have to pay for, you have access to this for free when you are an exclusive member. So with that said, any closing statements you'd like to make, Coco and Lorena?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and I'll let you two kind of end it up.
Okay.
I just want to thank y'all again. I look forward to meeting everyone next week for the panel. I am actually looking forward to these Saturday calls. So I just want. I love the talks. I love the, just to open our minds, to broaden our minds more. With what is going on in our world today. So, thank you, Fast Nickel, for keeping this going.
You're welcome, Lorena.
I've also learned to restrain myself and gain some composure and not go off the rails.
You
That's what
have what?
I've learned to control myself. It's been wonderful just fellowshipping and just discussing life in general, where it comes to finances and where we're heading in the future. And I can't wait for next Saturday. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for your comments,
Yes, thank you for
for
spending time with us on your
interacting with
Saturday.
us.
Yes.
Can't wait until next Saturday.
Yes. So next Saturday, we'll see you next Saturday at 7 o'clock. We'll look for some other topics to discuss and bring to your attention. Until then, shalom, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. And thank you again.